Hey, this is Aaron Varble, and let's get into Monday Night Raw on March 12th, 2018, because it's the road to WrestleMania, and that's what we do. The show started out with Kurt Angle coming down, and he announced that Brock Lesnar wasn't going to be there tonight, and that got a ton of boos from the crowd. He left out that Ronda Rousey wasn't going to be there either, because she's not supposed to get booed. She wasn't there for some reason. Even though they said that she was going to be at every Raw on the road to WrestleMania. What do you know? WWE lied to us. I'm shocked. Roman Reigns came down and he had something to say about Brock Lesnar, but more so, he had something to say about Vince McMahon because Brock Lesnar is, as he puts it, Vince's boy. And then all of a sudden, Roman Reigns wanted to go find Vince McMahon, and he went backstage. He went to the gorilla position. Everyone was back there that would normally be back there, like Shane McMahon. You saw the agents, everyone scattered. Roman Reigns walked up to Vince McMahon and demanded a word with him. And Vince McMahon called for commercial, and they went off and talked. When we came back from commercial, Renee Young was outside the dressing room. Roman Reigns left, and he looked all angry and upset. Then Vince McMahon came out, and he had a little speech, which ended in him saying that Brock Lesnar does get special privileges, and he might take advantage of that every now and then. What do you know? He guarantees that Brock Lesnar will be at Raw next week, and he guarantees Brock Lesnar will defend the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And then he suspended Roman Reigns temporarily because of his attitude problem. Next, you had Sonya Deville and Sasha Banks, and after a little match, Sasha Banks won via submission. Bayley was there and didn't seem happy to be there at all. She stopped Mandy Rose from getting involved at the end, and Sasha Banks won the match. But then after the match, Absolution beat down Sasha Banks, and Bayley had already left because she amscrayed as soon as the match was over. So that was weird. Miz TV was next, and he had Finn Balor and Seth Rollins as his guests, which always works out well. They ended up going back and forth. Miz called Finn Balor the man in bingo halls. Finally, after a little back and forth between the three of them, Finn and Seth started having words together when Finn asked Seth what happened last time they were in a championship match because he beat him with one arm. Suddenly, Finn Balor and Seth Rollins were up in each other's faces, and The Miz was very happy about that. And then they turned and looked at The Miz, and he tried to run away, but he ended up catching a little beating before running off. But that set up a match for later in the night between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. The Miztourage versus The Bar was next, and that match didn't happen because every tag team on Raw ended up coming down to the ring, and it was a free-for-all melee, which resulted in Kurt Angle booking a tag team battle royal to end the show to help determine The Bar's WrestleMania opponents. Next, you had John Cena coming out, and he was complaining about not having a WrestleMania match, and then he did something unprecedented when he called out The Undertaker yet again. He pointed out the fact that it's not that he shouldn't be saying that, or they would cut his mic off, and they didn't cut his mic off. He said the fact is The Undertaker needs to get over his ego and come and face him at WrestleMania. He called The Undertaker an egomaniac, but certainly opened the door for The Undertaker to answer this challenge because Cena called him out in a big way. Elias came out and started to play a song, and then he just looked around after picking the guitar a little bit and said, "This is your fault," and then he left, and he didn't do anything. And then Braun Strowman was backstage, and he was talking about dropping a piano on him. That was weird. Next, you had Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, and they were great together. Of course they are. It's Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. The closing moments of the match resulted in Seth Rollins finally landing the superplex, but as he was going to transition it into the Falcon Arrow, Finn Balor rolled him up for the pin. 1, 2, 3, and that was it. It was a great back and forth, and I think they set something up that was really cool they can translate into WrestleMania. They just have to work The Miz into it. Asuka was out next. She said to be the woman, you have to beat the woman, which is kind of Ric Flair's thing, but she translated it to Charlotte, which is understandable. Then Alexa Bliss came out, and she had some things to say to Asuka, and this resulted into a match with Asuka versus Mickie James. Asuka won, obviously. And next week, we're going to have Asuka versus Alexa Bliss again. So Asuka's still wrestling on Raw, even though she's wrestling for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Mania. So we'll just see if she shows up tomorrow night on SmackDown as well. Nia Jax had a squash match next, and then after the match, they showed a hidden camera of Alexa Bliss and Mickie James talking smack about Nia Jax backstage. Apparently, they were getting ready for an interview, and the mic was live, and the camera was on, and they broadcast it into the entire arena, which makes sense. Bliss said that Nia Jax looked like Shrek, and Nia is happy carrying her bags, and she said that she uses Nia because Nia Jax is a vulnerable human being. She concluded by saying she's just as dumb as she is big, and then Bliss finally realized the camera was on, and Nia Jax went running toward her, angry. Bliss and James took off, and Nia Jax went storming through the dressing room, tearing open suitcases. Bray Wyatt cut a promo, and we're gonna get the Ultimate Deletion match next week. Wonderful. The Tag Team Battle Royal was interesting because Braun Strowman entered as the final competitor, and most of the match happened outside of the ring, which is rare for a Battle Royal match. But if you go under the ropes, then you're fine. Just don't go over them. It's a weird loophole, but it worked. There was a lot of back and forth, mainly everyone trying to gang up on Braun Strowman to get him out of this match that he didn't belong in, but nobody could beat him, and Braun Strowman ended up winning. So now Braun Strowman is facing the Bar at WrestleMania for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Is that real? Is he gonna get a partner? Is he gonna face him on his own? I don't know. It's all confusing because Raw ended with the Bar looking equally confused, like what just happened, as Braun Strowman raised his hand under the WrestleMania sign and is like, they're gonna get these hands. The road to WrestleMania is fun, and that's why we love it. Until next time, my name's Aaron Varble. You guys have a good one. Bye.